Ladies, gents, kids of all ages, I'm your humble host, Jasper Gunzo, and this is another episode of What's Next. After doing a triple upload Sunday, I'll tell you right now, digging a little bit, there were more stories, and it was just a lot of stuff just went underneath the radar, and unfortunately, none of hours in a day. But to get you guys caught up, here's what I found. Our old friend Joe Obama, or O Biden, within hours of taking office, within hours, sent troops into Syria. Gee, how come the media didn't cover that? Oh, that's right, they were fawning all over him. That's why. Um, kissing his rear end. But yes, the first troops, American troops, in a foreign country in over 4 years. Because as we all know, one Donald Trump, the former president, never sent American troops into a foreign country during his 4 years. He made it very clear when he dropped the Moab on Afghanistan and made his thoughts clear to Syria to say, hey, what happened to them is going to happen to you. But it's funny that troops were being sent. Millions, billions are going to be spent. Possible, God forbid, deaths of American troops. But that's Joe Biden for you. God help us. Also in the news, Democrats move to make D.C. the 51st state. No shocker there, because that was talk weeks leading up to the election, that was going to be on his agenda within the first 100 days. Now it seems that a group of Dems, douchebag Dems, as I like to call them, are making the move to make D.C. the 51st state of the United States, which means an additional 2 senators, Democratic senators. To make our life even more of a hell, because of course, as they're saying, well, those people who live in D.C., they're paying taxes and they don't know where their tax money is going. Just like every other citizen who pays taxes in the United States has no idea where their tax money is going because of excessive waste. That's a fact. Because they're sure as hell not going for roads. They're sure as not hell, for roads and infrastructure. They're sure as not hell going, for our health care. It's not going where it needs to be going. It's going into frivolous BS. But then that's the federal government for you, and state and local as well. But this is more shenanigans from the Democratic Party. But of course, here's the kicker. They need 10 Republican congressmen or congresswomen to go along with this shenanigan. 10 Republican members of Congress to go along with this. It's going to be interesting which 10 they can get their hands on, because those 10 will be looked at with a microscope, especially if their reelection is coming up in 22. Just saying. Did you know there were still 6,000 National Guard in D.C. still? Out of the 26,000 that were sent for the inauguration, 6,000 still remain, and a fence around the D.C. border, around the Capitol, because of, white supremes, due to racism, because these are the true domestic threats in our country today, not actual threats to our, quote, democracy, which we're not. We're not a democracy. We are a republic that voter democratic representation, but facts. This is the continuous stupidity of the Biden or O'Biden administration. They want to continue this BS nonsense. It's garbage. It's absolute garbage. And yet, who's paying for it? Taxpayer. You, me. We're paying for it. And this nonsense is going to be continuing through March. Through March. You know, because of the supposed impeachment hearings of one Donald Trump, which I've said it time and time before, is not going to happen. It will not happen. It's not going to happen. There's too much at risk for a lot of GOP members, especially if their butts are going to be on the line in 2 years or in 4 years, because people will remember. But I digress. Did you know that there was a representative who just got elected for Congress who is a danger to our democracy? No. I would say it would be Pelosi, but she's been here 1,000 years. Maxine Waters, 1,000 years. Or Schmucky Schumer, 1,000 years. No. Not your usual suspects, but one Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene. Now, she's been considered a danger by left-wing media due to her conspiracy theories or differing opinions, depending on how you look at it. Now, she's been attached to QAnon, which a lot of people have distanced themselves from. I am familiar with QAnon a little bit. To me, they do dance in the conspiracy theory realm. Not a fan of that. Kind of almost Alex Joneses. But voters saw her. They saw her as a good thing to send to Congress. So they voted for her, as we do. And she won. And so now she's been voted in as a congressman of her state. But of course, what are the Dems trying to do? The Dems are basically trying to strip her of her committee slots. And she made it very clear. She made it very clear that they will reap what they sow if they attempt to do this, because of course in 22, which she said is a guarantee that they will get the House back in 22. Being that the Dems have only a handful of Democratic votes, should I say, members that they have in regards to to the slim margins in the House. So that is something you need to keep an eye on. But Taylor Greene made it very clear. You want to come after me? That's all well and good, but guess what? I'm going to hit back twice as hard. And she's barely been a rep for, what, a hot minute? That's going to be interesting to keep an eyeball on. So, oh boy. And of course, we're going to wrap this up with the whole situation with GameStop, Wall Street bets, the populist revolt. Because if people think that by making a couple adjustments in regards to, to buying stocks, selling stocks, because as we all know, hedge funds are a good thing. No, they're not. They're a bad thing. They're a bad thing. So the little man decided to step up and challenge the big boys at their own game. And so now the little man is going to pay for it, because how dare you use our own against us? We did this. We, the big boys. We at Wall Street, we're the ones who created this. You can't use our own against us. Really? Reddit saw that differently. Investors at Reddit saw that differently. But of course, with this whole situation going on, because of course as we all saw with Discord, who basically got rid of Wall Street Bets because of Rossism. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you buy stocks, you short sell, you know, you're a racist. you know, what else are you gonna be? You just can't invest. You have to have a reason behind your investments, behind your stock, buying or trading. You got to be racist. You have to be. And we're going to wrap this up with one of the most idiotic fools running around right now who used to be a comedian, who at one time was funny, one Jimmy the Jackass Kimmel. So Jimmy Kimmel's jackassery was in full effect the other night when he started spouting off regarding the whole situation with GameStop, Wall Street Bets, and Reddit.
GameStop, if you don't know, it's a video game store. And like a lot of businesses, they've been struggling because of COVID, but also because most people buy games online now. And yet, despite a sharp decline in sales, over the past 6 months, their stock price has grown by 8,000% because a bunch of amateur investors, maybe even some Russian disruptors who are part of a Reddit community called Wall Street Bets, decided to buy a bunch of GameStop stock.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, we have all this going on right now. I mean, it is just gangbusters. I mean, the stories are just coming out so fast. It's very hard for anybody to keep track of them. But to wrap up the segment with Jimmy Kimmel, basically saying, we need to protect Wall Street. We need to protect the hedge funds, that they're the good guys, but at worst, there are criminal acts, especially regarding the whole situation with Reddit and, the exploding of the stocks and what have you. Now, is there going to be an investigation? Oh, I'm sure, because it was the little man. So we need to investigate him and we need to teach him a lesson. But the shenanigans that have been going on in Wall Street for decades, I mean, decades, this kind of garbage has been going on through Democratic presidents, Republican presidents. It didn't matter. But now, because the little man stepped up, because we're going to beat them at their own game. No, we can't have that, because that's wrong. And also, it's because of Russia and it's racist. And with that being said, I'm Jazz Braganzo. This is what's next. And we'll see you guys next time. Peace.